Hello everyone, my name is Om. In next couple of sessions we are going to understand various verification concepts. We'll start off with understanding a memory model, then we'll define a simple test bench and subsequently refine that basic test bench to include various concepts such as driver, monitor, scoreboard, etc. So this is the specification of the memory model. So this memory has two parameters, pmem data width and pmem address width. The default parameter values are 32 and 16. So by default it will create a memory of each location of data width of 32 bits and then 2 power 16 locations. Correct. So that's the number of locations. It has a port named clock, so this memory is a synchronous memory. It also has a input pin called chip select. This pin when high indicates that okay, we have selected this memory for a read write operation. Then we have a pin called MRW, which indicates what type of operation we want to perform, whether it's a read or a write. When the value of this is 0, it indicates write, and when this value is 1, it indicates read. We also need an address at which the user intends to perform a read and write. So this address is provided by an input signal called madder, and the width of this is specified by a parameter. So whatever parameter during instantiation, whatever parameter value we will pass, this port will have that much width. So this specifies the location where the user wants to perform a read write operation. Now for write, we need what data to be written at that particular location. So MW data provides the data for the write operation, and again the data width is equivalent to pmem data width. Similarly, for the read operation, we need a port which to return the data what is read from that location. So mr data is the output port which will return the value after the read operation. So this is the spec from the previous slide. On the right side, we have tried to make a memory model. So this is a simple one. So this is a module and module. So this encompasses the entire model for this. So we have a parameter declaration here. So you see a parameter pmem data width. This specifies the default parameter values. So if during instantiation a user doesn't specify pmem data width and pmem address width, the default values will be 32 and 16 for this. So this portion reflects the input and output declaration. Here you can see we have defined all the input ports and the output ports appropriately. You can see we have defined madder as a parameterized width of pmem address width -1 down to 0, and for read and write data it is based on data width parameter. Now this is the line which actually creates sufficient memory, or actually creates a array, a kind of a fixed array. So like we said, okay, we have specified pmem address width, so we are defining number of bits for an address. So if an address has 5 bits, the total number of location will be 2 power 5 is equal to 32, correct? So now when we are defining this memory, the left hand index is the packed index. This specifies what each location, this specifies the width of each location. We are saying that each location is of pmem data width wide. So we have defined like this, pmem data width -1 down to 0. Note that the index always starts from 0, so we are starting from 0 and going up to data width -1. On the right side, we have to provide the number of actual locations for a memory. So if the address width is 16, then we shift 1 by that many bits, and then so basically if you compute this, correct, if you evaluate this, if 1 left shifted by 5, if you do, it will be 32. So it will be 32 -1 down to 0. So 31 down to 0. So effectively it means 32 locations. So this creates this on right hand side, it creates an array with sufficient number of locations to accommodate based on the address width. So this since we said that the updates to these memories are synchronous, so always underscore ff at the passage of clock. So on this edge we will update. Now when we are going to update, we are only going to update when there is a write, correct? So this if statement specifies here again m chip. So if the chip select is high or asserted, and then the read write is 0, so that's the thing. If you see, when the chip select was 1 and then the mrw is assumes a value of 0, then it indicates that it's a write operation. So in this case we are trying to update memory. This is the memory variable, and the m adder is the actual location what user passes through this port m address, correct, with a value of mw data what user has provided. So when user will try to write, it will set this chip select to 1, it will set this read write to 0, then it will pass the location at which it wants to perform a write, and then it will set this m underscore w data. So this performs the write operation. Now this the read is like so this statement performs the read to the memory. In this case we have seen, okay, if the chip select is 1 and then the mrw should be 1 for it to return a value at that location. So in that case a user will set m chip select as 1, mrw as 1. He will provide an address m underscore adder. The data is not for read operation, we don't care about the data, what the data bits would be. And then based on this, the model will retrieve the value stored at that particular location pointed by this m underscore adder, and then that value would be returned in by output port called m underscore r data. So this is the statement here. So when m underscore cs the chip select is high and then read write is also high, then what we are trying to do, we are trying to return a memory, we are trying to return a value pointed by m address into a memory location. So this mem sliced index, like this will give you the actual value stored at m underscore adder, and that would get returned in m underscore r data. For sake so in this case, if you see, we could have directly sent out a value of m underscore adder, but in that case what would happen, even in case of write, we would be trying to read that particular location, correct? That we are not trying to do. What we are trying to, if a user has explicitly stated that he wants to perform a read operation, then we are then we will provide him a value stored at that memory. Otherwise, if the read is deselected, then we are this particular output port will be driven by all zeros. So this was the memory model what we discussed. Now we'll go through several labs in a sequence, one after the other. So the first lab will we'll start off with a very basic test bench in which we'll perform a read and write. We'll structure the test bench to read at a location and then write at a location and then read back the value to see whether the writes and reads are working properly. Then we'll see some demerits, and then we'll try to update or refine the test bench to include driver, subsequently monitor, scoreboard. We might want to control the test bench might need to have control, like how many read writes we want to perform. So we might want to include some user control. We might to include some kind of randomization, like the address what we write, the data what we write to that address, can it be randomized? The operation what we select, can it also be randomized? So that control will provide. We'll try to update the test bench here. Logging, we'll try to structure our log messages in such a way that based on the use cases, like we don't want all the log messages to be present in the file always, because it clutters the view. You only want some error messages to be flagged always. Subsequently, based on the granularity of the logging parameter set or the logging argument set, we might want to switch to a different logging. So we'll see that. Then we'll move on to some statistics, in which we will try to display some statistics number, like how many checks we have done, how many pass, how many of these checks resulted in a pass, and how many of these resulted in a fail. So after this, we'll also try to refresh our memory with some memory initialization construct, like we have readmemh and readmemb. So that will try to see how because we have a memory model, and then we'll try to initialize that memory models with some value. We'll see how this impacts our existing test bench, and then finally we'll refine our test bench to work with all kinds of memory initialization, and then wind up this memory example at that point. One thing to note here, that there would be many more cases or scenarios which we could have covered, but this is again just to give you a brief overview of all the steps or all the concepts which are present to make you familiar with the idea.